Walking along the sandy shoreline of the Deepwater beach, a guard spots movement from the cool blue depths of the sea. A feminine form with flowing hair and scaled skin flicks the deep red of her tail playfully. And so begins the daily ritual of charming the guard. Further on, strong, scaled sea creatures patrol the sewer gratings for illicit activity, while others search for debris and refuse to remove from their waters, with a diligence that keeps the harbors as splendid and efficient as they are today. Welcome to Deepwater Harbor, the basin that gave rise to Waterdeep in both name and wealth. While its waters may look inviting and hold many treasures to both see and perhaps steal, make no mistake, the citizens who dwell underneath the surface do not take kindly to those who would interfere with their way of life. The history of the harbor stretches back further than the founding of Waterdeep, to a settlement of merfolk who established themselves in the year of sea monsters. It was male merfolk who first stationed themselves here, and so the village of Thar Quilnar was founded upon the underwater slopes leading up to Deepwater Isle. Their mission was to protect the flooded sea caves filled with treasures and sacrifices in reverence to Umberlee, the bitch queen of the seas, whose wrath would ensure watery chaos all along the Sword Coast if any would-be thieves so much as stole a single golden dragon. Today, this network of caves known as Umberlee's Cache is still guarded as fiercely by the ancestral successors of those first merfolk, as well as their giant seahorse steeds, their patrols now illuminated by the magically made lighthouse of the Deepwater Beacon. But it was not thieves who would cause the biggest strife for the merfolk of Thar Quilnar. That title would go to Lakovas, an ancient megalodon shark and former lover of the goddess Umberlee, who commanded monstrous armies of pirates, Sahagwin and Morkoth, with which he instigated the 12th Seros War. During this war, the settlement grew as refugees were pushed from the surrounding seas to the relative safety of Deepwater, to the point where a hamlet of sea elves established themselves in the Year of the Shield at the bottom of Boat Scrape Cove. This hamlet, Tequession, was formed of the desperate fair folk who sought to offer their tridents in service to the lords of Waterdeep. Just 2 years later, the communities of both settlements, now thriving from the influx of new fighters and workers that were refugees, were beset by Lakovas's forces, and was nearly destroyed completely. The merfolk suffered the worst of all as the staunch frontline defenders of the now bustling harbour. In the aftermath of the war, the villagers recovered their numbers by taking in any and all refugees of the Sword Coast. This, coupled with the generous magical and monetary support from the Lords of Waterdeep, ensured the settlements would flourish again to maintain and defend the historic harbour that was so vital to both parties. Today, the Lords continue to reward the staunch loyalty of their underwater citizens, paying a stipend of food, medicines, and trade bars up to 25 gold pieces per head per month to all who provide protection to the depths from invaders, predators, and shipping hazards as members of the City Guard. There isn't a single area under the waters of the harbour that merfolk aren't actively involved in. Unlucky traders would expect their cargo to be recovered, along with a stop to clean their ships of barnacles and other unmentionables that would make their home on the hulls. Unfortunate sea captains would receive the wreckage of their vessels delivered in huge nets, dragged by the merfolk, along with the corpses of their ill-fated crew who took their last voyage. But ensuring you had permission and a means of breathing underwater, there would be some beautiful sights below the harbour's depths. For those looking to try the bounty of the sea, get a guided tour of the underwater gardens that the merfolk keep along the eastern tip of Deepwater Isle, growing all manner of sea fruits, kelps and coral, along with keeping exotic fish that would be all sold in the trading post by the fair folk. Step carefully in the gardens, however, for they sit upon a hot rift, and vents of scalding water have been known to fatally broil the unwary in seconds. In the night, where the waters are illuminated by the single distant star of the Deepwater Beacon, visit the Queenspire, a carved-out shell of a magical abalone that spirals out of the water that stands as a temple dedicated to Umberlee herself. Pay homage before you leave for land once more, if not out of respect for the splendors of the harbor and its peoples, then out of fear of losing it to her destructive ire. Thank you for watching this video on the lore of Waterdeep, Deepwater Harbor. It's a very interesting location that I think needs a bit more highlighting in some campaigns and could definitely make for some very cool locations to set quests. Aside from that, however, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video for our next lore of D&D. Thank you very much.